Hi, everyone. I am Ellen Smoley, Growth Marketing Manager here at Iron Horse, and I'm so excited to be bringing you another coffee break. This time, we are talking with Lauren Kishpaw, Director of Marketing at Postal. Lauren, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Excited.
We are so excited to dive in and talk about gifting plus ABM. I know a lot of people on the line would love to understand how those two things come together. Just for those of you on the phone with us, we would love your participation. And if you could chat us, what is the most memorable gift that you've ever given or received from a marketing or sales campaign? Lauren and I are going to be doing a raffle at the end of the event for this super cool brewing kit. So again, just chat us. Whatever you have received from marketing or sales or whatever you've given, we'll kind of scan through the answers at the end of the episode and we'll pick a winner. All right, so we know that this last year has given us many, many curveballs. And with all of these curveballs, we have still had to meet our demand gen goals, drive revenue, practice as normal. So Lauren, let's kind of talk about what are enterprise companies doing differently to cut through the noise, to reach their target accounts. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as I, you work with a lot of enterprise companies. The company I'm at now is small, so I think like in terms of strategies, things are very similar, but the different scales. So I think the easiest answer from a demand gen perspective is like, put more paid efforts into campaigns that are driving revenue. So for us, demand gen people, which I love that this is all kind of my people in this room, so I love this, but like the easy answer is to like put more stuff behind demo campaigns or free trial campaigns and things that are very quantifiable and drive direct outcomes that you can tie back to and kind of push up the food chain to show that your value when we're in a tough position. So that's like the easy answer, but from my perspective and my kind of the more interesting things I've seen is when people think outside the box and do things that are kind of different campaigns or different offers. So something that I saw just yesterday, I saw Gongdu. They had a really interesting like sales template for to help you build an actual sales account plan, and stuff like that is really interesting because it's an offer that's not just more content or more webinar or more things that people don't have time for. So I just like when people are doing interesting creative things, and I'm sure that you have done some interesting things with the enterprise companies that you work with as well.
Yeah, I love that. I like that you said, increasing paid media spend. And we are seeing our clients increase paid media spend on those accounts that are showing intent. So using those intent tools to take a look at that and then spend their money very diligently on those accounts, which is working well for those top target accounts. Another tactic that we have seen explode over the past year that we've been working with our clients on is chatbots. So after doing some research, I think chatbots was one of the most used marketing tactics in the playbook last year. And it makes sense. So being able to build kind of those personalized playbooks when somebody lands on your site, know who somebody is, have a direct message. And then also, of course, utilizing interactive content is a big thing that we've seen over the past year and virtual events. So definitely.
Yeah, I guess that's a good reminder that last week we were talking about this, and it's like as demand gen people, we're like really what's like the default mode is to put forms in front of things and get people to sign up for them. But we've kind of been forced out of our comfort zone in the last year to think about things that are beyond the form. And that's like the conversational marketing, the chat bots.
Right.
And I'm very pro form because I'm like a demand gen person through and through. But we've been forced to kind of think outside of that, and something that we're doing and seeing is a lot of these virtual experiences, which are something that's not a webinar, because putting up slides and having a talking head on those slides for 60 minutes is something that like I was not seeing traction on anymore.
Yeah, that's so 2019.
I mean, it's like the content is content. Content is like the caliber of content matters. So, at the same time, maybe we weren't putting out content that people wanted to see. So it really goes to show that we had to get more creative. So we had to think outside of like the bounds that we're used to, as well as step up in terms of delivering things that your audience actually will take the time to interact with.
Right. So a big piece of this conversation is going to be gifting. It's in the title, we're talking about gifting and ABM. And so there's no doubt that you can speak from your clients and your experience that gifting has kind of taken off over the past couple months, year. So I love, Lauren, for you to kind of talk about how has gifting changed? We kind of hear it as direct mail, gifting. How is gifting used as a marketing channel?
We like to call it the umbrella as experience marketing. That's like what we do at Postal. I think the most familiar that this group would be is like we kind of all categorize that as direct mail. For those of us that have done like the old-fashioned types of direct mail, it's like postcard and an envelope with a handwritten note. And then there's gifting, which is kind of like tangential along the lines of like usually gifting comes with customers or already established relationships. Okay. But over the last year, we've seen there's all these like facets of experience marketing. So that's direct mail, e-gifting, gifting, incentive marketing, and experiences, which is kind of a collaboration of both. We've seen that those have really ramped up on all fronts. So gifting doesn't just mean, send a swag pack to new customers as they onboard, or send employees something branded, as a thank you at sales kickoff. So gifting really is something that's grown to be much bigger, and people often think about it in like this narrow view of like direct mail is for trying to get in touch with people and gifting is for customers. And we've been able to integrate gifting throughout all of the stages of the funnel and throughout all market segments of our target account. So this actual topic is more specific around ABM, but we've used it for just traditional demand gen as well. And we're kind of seeing people just have to use gifting throughout the funnel because they're trying to break through the noise and they're not standing out and they don't have like unlimited budgets to just keep turning up spend to get, diminishing return on their investments. So they're having to get creative and do things that are memorable, and gifting works. Like I don't know the last time you received a gift, but I could probably remember every gift that was ever sent to me. And I don't even remember the last time someone wrote me a handwritten card in the mail. So being able to do that, when I get 100 emails a day in my inbox and probably 20 of them are cold emails that I don't respond to, it works. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's proven. And in a second, we'll kind of talk about, you mentioned gifting has that kind of personalization and that feel to it. So I want to talk about that a little bit when we get down to the sales use cases. But first, the two key players of making account-based marketing work are your sales and marketing teams. So let's move down to thinking about what are some of the marketing use cases for sending gifts. And you talk about using it through all phases of the funnel. So top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Let's kind of talk through what are some of those use cases and then what gifts you've seen that are being sent.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm an operations person, so we like to operationalize it and put policy, which is not like the most fun word. I'm sure I could think of something better, but we think about it in terms of where they are in the funnel and then what like market segment they are or what tier account they are for us. We're a small company, so all of our target accounts are going to be A accounts for us right now. But in terms of like top of funnel stuff, we'll integrate gifting into nurture emails. So we have this thing called Magic Link, at least with Postal, and you can integrate it, just hyperlink it, just like you would hyperlink, any URL. And when clicked upon, they can redeem a gift. And so we've done things like send a kit with hot sauce and they can actually accept the hot sauce tasting kit and it says, light your pipeline on fire or something small. So we try and we have budget. So like under $25 gift in cold nurture emails when they're top of funnel to try and convert them to MQL. Once they become MQL, we have the SDRs now manage that gifting relationship and they'll send a box of chocolates if they don't get a response in a sequence on step 8. Stuff like that. And then, for ABM accounts, the AEs are also, working these accounts together with the marketing team. So we have strategies from all sides to try and break into the account. And we have these kind of standardized steps where gifting works and where gifting is actually acceptable and like socially it works. I know that we'll probably talk about this in a second, but there's a right and a wrong way to gift.
Yeah.
And our personal philosophy is just like, people are tired of receiving tchotchkes. Like they're tired, like people think personalized swag kits and they think of like a box with their logo on it and then like a cup with their logo on it and then a bunch of things with their logo on it. And they'll put their logo on anything because you can get anything shipped to us and you can get your logo on it with enough money. And we're seeing that people don't want that stuff anymore. They're moving away from wanting those like trade show tchotchkes that they used to receive like at Dreamforce. And they just don't want more things in their house. And so for our take on personalized gifting is giving something that's thoughtful, authentic, genuine, and you can do that with people that you know or with people that you haven't yet established a relationship with. So an example of that is, I know that you live in the Bay Area, Ellen. I know that you're moving, somewhere else soon, and so something like of nostalgia might be important to you. So if I can send you something that's Bay Area local, like a local, loaf of bread from Tartine, or something that feels local and special to you, then that is more meaningful and will build a connection. So even just sending localized gifts that are supporting small businesses, or something that a value that person cares about morally, then that for us is greater and more impactful than the old school way of gifting and direct mail that everybody thinks about.
Right. And as I'm just kind of scanning, looking through some of the chats that are coming in regards to what's the most memorable gift that people have received, it is when it was very personalized to them. And was, so let's see here. So noise canceling headphones, the person who I was battling with nearby construction and was having trouble hearing my meetings. How thoughtful is that? So absolutely love that person took that into consideration. I saw another one here. I don't know, but I do think, like you said, it works to understand, do a little bit of research about that person and make sure that it's very tailored. And in marketing use cases might be more of a, I don't want to call it batch and blast, but more of those bigger sends that you're doing. And I would really highly recommend making those sends be very segmented so you can get as personalized, whether that's an industry or company size, thinking how can you segment your list. That way you're going to drive better results and then have more targeted, campaigns to that segment.
Yeah, we as marketers and demand gen people, we naturally are going to have to figure out how to do one-to-many campaigns or one to more than the sales team. The sales team has the luxury of meeting people and knowing where they live and seeing their kids on camera and then being able to send something that's thoughtful and relevant. But as marketers, like there's still a lot you can do in terms of even just segmenting by geo and then sending something that's local to the geo. We just brought on a bunch of women-owned businesses in Chicago. So we're going to segment our list, Chicago, people live in Chicago, people who live in different geos, and give them a special gift. That's easy to do with, whatever marketing automation you're using.
Yeah, and it makes that more memorable for sure. Also, another marketing use case that we've seen our client use is using gifting for virtual events. So whether these are large-scale virtual events where there are 5,000 people and perhaps you're picking out your VIPs and you're sending them a VIP box, or maybe there's a gift for every single registrant. We've kind of seen it done both ways. But Lauren, I want you to kind of touch on those curated experiences. So thinking about there's the very large scale virtual events, and then those virtual events that are very targeted for a smaller group. I know Postal has a super cool curated event marketplace. I would love for you to touch on that and tell us what your customers have seen when they were using those virtual events. Yeah, so myself, I like to think about these virtual experiences as either like ABM, high touch, high impact and also comes with high cost events versus like a demand gen, like an event with a demand gen objective. So that's like high volume virtual event. Ideally, if budgets are unlimited, like we could deliver a personalized experience for all, 1,000 people on those high volume events. I personally don't have those types of budgets right now.
But postal events doesn't make it easy to actually do that should you want to have those kinds of budgets. But the way that we think about it is in those two kind of main categories. And then for the small scale events, under 30 people is a really good experience, and making sure that people have had the opportunity to network, facilitate, and have a physical experience is what is driving true engagement in a time where we're just like stuck on our computers and our Slack is going off and our phones are going off and we have kids and we have a lot of distractions. So the reason why we built postal events was because we were seeing that people were using our marketplace to send like bottles of wine to accompany some kind of virtual experience, whether it was like a happy hour virtually or it was like a webinar where they were giving away wine. And so we thought, what if we could just combine the logistics of the sending of the things with the things and the vendors and the actual facilitators of those virtual experiences. So local winemakers in San Luis Obispo, which is where we're headquarters, or we have like a magician who does magic and wine tasting at the same time, and we have like all of these like really interesting people that we're kind of finding opportunities during the pandemic to build these virtual experiences, and we brought them all into one place. So now you can book, manage registration, send the thing, and then we see people are way more engaged when they're keeping their hands busy. So like they can't be typing when they're tasting or eating or doing some kind of activity. So we saw the engagement rate spike and the actual interactions were much better. And then the attendance rate. So I don't know if you guys are seeing this with your enterprise customers, but like attendance rate on webinars or any kind of virtual anything has gone down. So like across all industries. So we can't just keep trying to get more and more registrations to get to our attendance rate goals. That's like the same thing of like doing the same thing with different, and expecting a different outcome, but we're just not seeing the results we need. So having this physical kit has been really good to get that attendance rate out. People see it, they get it, they feel like more inclined to come because they're going to experience something with the thing that came in the mail for them.
Right.
And if you don't have the budgets, like we had a big launch event where we were trying to do high volume lead gen with a comedy show, Second City Comedy. And I only had budget to make 500 boxes. So we had some event kits that came with it. And we just did kind of a first 500 signups, get the box. And then we still saw over 50% attendance rate on that event, even though not all the participants actually got the box. We still saw a really good outcome for that. And we're seeing over 70% attendance rate on all postal experiences. So I think that's better than industry's average right now. I think it's 30.
Yeah. And I would say, definitely we've been hearing the Zoom fatigue, and that's how we're kind of, as I mentioned before, breaking through the noise, trying to figure out all of these different ways to get in front of our targeted accounts. So I love that you talked through those smaller targeted virtual events or virtual settings that you can send those VIP boxes or a lunch and learn or something to keep those people engaged. And so whether you're delivering a demo on the other side, or it is more of just let's get together, do a little bit of networking and have a cheese tasting, it is working. And I love that you are seeing those metrics work behind that. So thank you for sharing the postal events. We have also been seeing our clients use them and love them as well. So moving down to the next key player in account-based marketing, that is sales. And you touched on it earlier, being personalized, making sure that what is being sent is super personalized. And we know that that's the more personalized you are in your account-based marketing, the better your results are going to be. So let's kind of talk through some different sales use cases and what you're seeing with your team. And then I can talk a little bit about what we're seeing as well, but how the sales teams are using gifting to drive pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, like in any ABM strategy, like you mentioned, it's a collaboration between marketing and sales, and it's like an orchestration that has to work well. So, but a part of this is the traditional outbound sales motion of, I have a team of SDRs that's calling, trying to make 60 dials a day, and they get connects 1 to 2 times a day, which is, worse than they were seeing before pandemic. And they're spinning their wheels for how they can get more connects and how they can just get on the phone with people or get people to respond to emails. They're receiving, only a couple of on standard emails, they're only seeing a couple of responses per week. So even accelerating that connect rate by 1% is really meaningful to their quota and breaking into those target accounts that they have. So what we're seeing is if you integrate gifting into a cold sequence, which is kind of not a natural thing to do, is to think of sending someone you don't even know a gift in an outreach sequence or a sales loft cadence. We're seeing 65% engagement rate on the sequence. So before we were seeing like 20% overall people who respond, either negatively or positively, or connected on the phone and had an outcome. We're seeing 65% on those. So incorporating, and it doesn't have to be something that's super personalized if they don't know them. Even just this is what I tell them every day. I tell them 100% of people who we've sent chocolates to have liked chocolates. So like in the email, they're like, I haven't heard from you. This is just like if someone goes cold, goes dark, doesn't respond to them, I assume that you are so busy like all the other people I talk to, and I don't want to bother you. So I just wanted to send you a little afternoon treat to make you happy and send a little box of chocolates. And it's not a hard CTA. It's literally just say, hey, human to human, we're not going to keep doing this whole, when do you have 15 minutes to chat? When do you have 15 minutes to chat? When do you have 15 minutes to chat? And we found that people are actually really receptive to just that. And it's not super personalized to who they are, where they are. It's just a thoughtful touch point with someone they don't know. And then when they do get that connect, or there's been a conversation, the sales team can then use those triggers or things that they've seen. Somebody, I was on a call with a sales representative the other day, and the partner or customer we were talking to had a daughter that kept coming in and saying that she wasn't feeling good. She had a boo-boo. And so the sales rep actually sent him for his daughter, a care package of treats to say, thank you for letting us, share the time with you. And that would be very unnatural if that interaction didn't happen. Yes. So there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to gift, which is you don't want to be creepy or spammy or, stalkery if you don't really have any kind of established relationship leading up to that gift. So, there's definitely some right and the wrongs, but it's a lot of common sense and making sure that it feels genuine and just human to human.
Right. And I liked how you said the other day when we were chatting, just like any other marketing tactic, if you're not getting that reciprocation, you can come off as being spammy. So maybe it's not sending one person a couple gifts. It is looking at that buying unit who's in that ABM account and sending all 5 of those people one gift. So you're kind of spreading out the gift love there. So Lauren, I know that we are hitting our time here. We have a ton of amazing responses in our chat in regards to what the most memorable gift is that people have received. So let's just take a second and look through these.
Oh, Brienne got cookies and margarita. Those are really just the 2 best things ever.
Wow, that is the way to March.
Mini cheese board. Wow, these are creative. A couple people said camping kit. I wonder if it's the same. Is it Adobe? I like that one.
Okay, I'm loving this one. This one is from Austin. It says, I once sent a surprise and delight box, which surprise and delight box work all the time, with a payday candy bar in it to 100 prospects. The gimmick was, isn't it time for a bigger payday? And it worked like a charm. So Austin, thanks for the little story and background on that. Love it.
I also love Chelsea's. Chelsea got a locally sourced gift box from upstate New York. Honey, maple syrup, tea, cookies, and popcorn. I love that. And no one says no to snacks. And when you're supporting local small businesses, it's always nice as well.
So Stephanie also had a great response, a virtual vacation in a box. We couldn't travel due to COVID. The kit included a candle, picture frame, and a cozy t-shirt. These are all amazing. And really thank you all for your responses. Austin, I think yours is taking the cake. Thanks again for that story. Thanks for sharing that with us. So we will be reaching out and sending you our brew kit this afternoon. We'll reach out via email. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. We hope that you will join us on our next episode. Lauren, thank you so much for your insights and times. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun. I'm always pro demand gen group. So
yes, we should get together more often.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.